Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How's it going? How do you like my new mic? Oh, got my little scrunchie here. I'm feeling pretty fancy today. Pretty fancy schmancy. Got this little mic I bought from Walmart, which I've had for a year and a half. I've just been too lazy to put the damn thing on my phone. But told you I'm going to start making some more videos. And here's the first one. Hopefully you all can hear me a little bit better with this amazing Walmart microphone. It gives me a sense of like I'm just ready, man. I feel like just ready to frickin' go, man. So this is going to be a short one. And I could have clipped this on, but I kind of like holding it. I like the firm grip that I can give this little tiny, I don't know, this little tiny thing that's probably similar to the size of the manhood of certain individuals, causing a lot of havoc in this community. Yeah, I think this might be a little bit bigger. Plus it has a green light, which means it's actually ready to do something. So, I'm ready to start making anti-Scientology videos again very soon. But, there's some things that I want to talk about and things that need to be discussed. I noticed that Slob-Anzo took most of his videos down, but then he put one back up. He made a post about Nora and Nora being in her baby crib and being an OSA baby and, just the usual creepy fetish that Alonzo has with children and infants in Scientology. Which I don't know about you all, but I find it a little fucking creepy. Considering Alonzo is 65 years old and does not have any children. And I once saw a live where Defender of Boofs was like, what does it matter if me and Slabanzo do not have children? Oh, it matters a lot, boys. It matters a lot. Because if you're going to talk about how children should be raised and how women and mothers are supposed to act and the dynamics surrounding it, you better have fucking shot some fucking non-blanks and produced some kids of your own. Because the last time I've checked, both you and Slabanzo have done nothing but shot blanks, or you ain't shooting at all. I think it's safe to guess that Defender of Boof's probably shooting blanks. Alonzo, I think he's shooting churned butter with that petrified blankie that he has. Oh, you know what? They say if there was going to be a female comedian about Scientology, that I would be a very good stand-up comedian, and I would be willing to hold that. I would be very, very willing. So, there's some things that I want to say, because there has been a toxicity that has taken over this anti-Scientology movement. And it's a toxicity unlike anything I've ever seen before. And for those of you that are new to this movement, and when I say new, I mean 3 years or less, you all need to understand that this protest movement against Scientology, do you all know that it's been going on for about 50 years? Yeah, 50 years. It didn't just start with Defender of Boofs. Did you guys know it? And I know those of you following Defender of Boofs thinks that he's going to make or break the anti-Scientology protest scene as a whole, and that miraculously no one will ever protest Scientology again because of him, which is quite laughable. The Christian evangelicals and Christians in general They hate Scientology. And they do a far more effective job. They get far more government attention than Defender of Boofs ever will have. And this has been going on since the 50s and 60s, folks. And for those of you that have been around the anonymous movement, like I have, which was in 2008, the anonymous movement was by far and much larger than the protest movement we see of today. It simply seems a lot more prominent because we're watching it on YouTube. Anonymous was much larger. Their mission against Scientology tenfold was much larger than what Defender of Boofs is doing. Every single month, every large city across the United States was holding large-scale protests across every org in America. Monthly. Here in Phoenix alone, there would be about 60 to 100 protesters protesting against Scientology. Got to see if my little micro penis microphone is still on. Still more effective and larger than Slob-Anzo and Defender of Boofs mics. But that's another story. So, and I know they're going to say, how would you feel if we said this about women? First of all, I want to get this out of the way. Defender of Boofs, Slob-Anzo, and Repeto. You are not spearheading a male-led movement against, men being abused by women. You are not Johnny Depp, okay? I watched the Johnny Depp trial nonstop. Nonstop. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard were psychologically abusing each other, and they were in a relationship. Documented. Johnny Depp is the poster boy of how men can be victims of domestic violence from women. He is the poster boy for that. Defender of Boofs, Slabanzo, and Repeto, you're not Johnny Depp. Sit down, because you guys are creeps. And I will say again, the 3 pervertos instead of the 3 amigos. Yeah, you're not Johnny Depp. I'm sorry. Sorry, boys. Sit down. Sit down. So, some of you need to get a reality adjustment that this anti-Scientology protest movement is not going to stop, nor did it begin because of Defender of Boofs. It is going to continue as long as we have a Christian movement in America, because Christian evangelicals hate Scientology, and I know that because I grew up with that and I faced a lot of persecution as a child by being ostracized from doing anything because I was being raised in Scientology. And, Christian evangelicals didn't want me or my family anywhere near them. And they have a lot of money. And they have a lot of power. Just like that. Right? So, it's not funny how that happened on cue? Just fucking happened like, bam. It's fucking earring. I think that might be a sign from Xenu right there. It's very weird. So, there were a few things I didn't mention about Slabanzo last time, and those of you who know my story know that I lost a nephew who was 9 years old. He passed away in a house fire back in 2001 because his mother was ordered to slave away at the Sea Org. Not the Sea Org, the public org here. She was in the process of joining the Sea Org, and their house caught on fire. I never said that Scientology caused his death. I said that Scientology's policies are liable for his death, which they are. What I failed to mention in my last video is that Slabanzo used to message me, and he also used to write blogs saying, let's talk about Marisa Sigmund's nephew. Yeah, Slob-Anzo, do you remember that? Your invasive creepiness about my family, which you know nothing about, which you have zero part of? Why do you care about my family, man? Why are you shoving your nose, being an invasive creep in my life? So I was talking about my nephew, and I used to get these really sinister, creepy messages from Slabanzo saying, well, Marisa, let's talk about your nephew. Let's talk about how Scientology really didn't kill him. Because once again, Slabanzo likes to defend the Church of Scientology. I will digress with the further disgusting details of Slabanzo's deranged imagination. But that's where it started, where I'm like, wow, why is this motherfucker trying to be an invasive creep with my family? And I see him currently doing it to Nora, talking about Nora being a baby in the Sea Org and that she was born to, she's a OSA baby. Alonzo, what is your fetish with Scientology babies and children? Can you please address that? Because it's odd. All right. And for those of you noticing, yes, I'm holding this with my left hand. I am left-handed, which means I'm 10% of the planet, which means I think a little bit differently than most. So, Slabanzo, my nephew, Nora's upbringing, Jenna's upbringing, and my upbringing are none of your goddamn business. You're 65 years old. Do you guys know how old Slabanzo was when I was born? He was almost 21 years old when I was born. He is 65 years old. Do you notice how he never talks about himself or any problems that he has, any abuses that he's faced within Scientology? Everything is about like my upbringing, Nora's upbringing, Jenna's upbringing, and defender of boofs. You're defending this sick fuck. And I used to cut you a lot of slack, and for the record, I have never called you a pedo. But what I am going to say is that you are a sympathizer and you are a supporter of perverts. I should start calling you SOP, sympathizer of perverts. Not a good look, buddy, especially if you're looking at some fucking hard time. I don't think you want to be known as SOP. Because I'm sure you know people like Pinche Becky, myself, because I was born in California, and the plethora of other people that aren't really too fond of you. We all got like primas, shit that are in the CDOC doing time. All we got to do is say, hey man, you're going to see this guy named DOB or /SOP that's going to be locked up pretty soon, and he defends a lot of predatory behavior, and that's what you're going to be known as. If you were wise, you would probably want to distance yourself from that. And you're not smart. You're goddamn, dude. Remember you were reading Jesse Prince's book and you were calling him Ricky Prince? Like, what the fuck is he? Like, you think he's Rick James and shit? Then you were talking about Jerry Armstrong. You're like, ooh, Gary. Or no, actually you called him Scott Armstrong. Like, what, you think he's like Lance Armstrong? That's not a speech impediment, dude. You're just fucking ignorant. You're an ignorant fucking hick. It is what it is. So, I'm sending this message because there needs to be a stop eventually to the parasocial creepiness, the invasiveness, the outright vile stalking towards those of us that were raised in Scientology, because it's at an all-time high. And several of us do not tolerate it, myself included. I left a message recently. Yeah, it looks like I got the David Bowie ring going on. One earring. I left a post recently about Jenna and Nora and people, parasocial cult groupies stalking us people telling Nora to shut up and what Jenna wants. You people don't know Jenna. You don't Nora. You don't know Nora and you don't know myself. And I made a comment. I said, I don't like gatekeeping, but if there is one person that can be a gatekeeper for Jenna, Nora, and all of the women who are second-gen Scientologists, that person is me, not you. Because I grew up in this shit. I'm friends with all of them. And they know that I will defend them. And I will put a stop to this. And I will talk shit. And I will not tolerate it. You guys need to back the fuck off and grant us our privacy. And stop trying to ram your nose in our lives. Stop trying to figure out shit about us. Because you're barking up the wrong tree if you pull that shit with me. Or any of my friends. And with all due respect, I don't think Nora or Jenna would have a problem with me saying this because I'm looking out for their best interests. And Jenna doesn't need to deal with this bullshit because Jenna is doing much larger things that could actually bring down the Church of Scientology and deliver an effective, I hate to say the word blow, she can deliver an effective strike against it and help collapse the demise of David Miscavige and the Church of Scientology. And I will be damned if any of you parasocial cult groupies and unhinged lunatics like Slob-Anzo and Defender of Boofs are going to get in the way of that. See, people like Nora and myself, we've been in this game for 20 years. I've always said I would not want to argue with Nora. Nora could join a debate team and I would not want to get in a debate with her. And me, I don't stop. And I don't care if I hurt feelings. And I've said before, I do not abide by a Geneva Code, which means rules of engagement when there's a war or a combat. And when you cross certain lines like Slabanzo and DOB, and you fuck with someone like me, I have no Geneva Code. Zero. I don't care if I hurt your feelings. I don't care once you cross that line. I don't care what's politically correct, and I don't care what is going to be socially acceptable or not, because I have to protect myself and those around me. Slabanzo, whatever delusional battle you have in your mind, which no one gives a fuck about, you don't have a battle with anyone but yourself, dude. Live your life, man. What's left of it? You're 65. And I hate to say this, but I'm going to live about 30 years longer than you. That's just scientific facts. Is all you have to say for yourself, like, just what you did in Scientology 30 years ago? And talk about children that grew up in Scientology and just gossip and stalk us and just your passive-aggressive fucking creepy shit. You're not going to win, bud. You are not going to win. I'm glad you deleted your shit, and I hope that this is a premonition or like an epiphany that you had of, I need to stop acting like a goddamn fucking unhinged maniac. The battle of Scientology is going to continue long after DOB is gone. He didn't start this fight. He didn't end it. Those of you that are barely joining in the last 2 years think that it's because of him, but it's not. There are people 1,000,000 times superior, more effective, and more relevant that go down in the Hall of Fame history of protesters. And I will tell you this. Defender of Boofs is not even going to make the top 500 list. And for those of you that ask me, well, what have you done? And I've seen people say, oh, she's contributed nothing. You know what I've done? I was born and raised in Scientology. I've been speaking against it since 2006. If some of you were educated enough and did a little research instead of getting in chats with Slabanzo and Defender of Boofs, you would know that. It's quite laughable to think that two fringe extremists who frequent Reddit and Discord are the end-all say-all of the fight against Scientology. Most Christian and Catholic Americans do not like Scientology. And they have far more pull than DOB and Slob-Anzo. The fight of Scientology is going to continue. It's actually going to be much stronger. And DOB is going to be just a little blip. Done and forgotten. And hopefully he moves back to Illinois and maybe he can start protesting Portillo's hot dogs because they fucking suck. That's what you need to do, DOB. Go protest Portillo's fucking Chicago hot dogs. It's going to be more to say, and like I said, I'm going to have more videos, but you all take care. Wanted to share my little handy dandy mic and see how it goes. Love you all. Take care.